Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome to another Racial Legends video. Guys, this one will be Doom Tower. We're on the test server. Stage 120 on hard for Dark Fae. Showcasing a team with no legendaries at all. Just beating Dark Fae. It's a really cool team that I've thought of yesterday while on stream. We had some comments on which champions could be useful while I was on my free-to-play account. So, okay, once I realized that champion can be actually very useful for this Doom Tower, then I went in theory crafting for the least champion heavy team, and then I'll give alternatives for legendary champions that can be used. So let's go in there. Look at this, guys. This team utilizes Dark Elhain and what she can do. Okay, everybody else is there for support. I'll explain their roles in a bit, but this is a non-legendary team for stage 120 on hard. 120 on hard has 250 speed, so remember, you gotta have good gear for this one. It's not a walk in the park to have these, and especially two allures in here. You don't need the two allures for what I'll explain in a bit, because you can actually do this on lower difficulties, which I'll show next. Without two allures, you can use one allure, but she's a great champion for decreasing turn meter. If you don't have an allure, then you can try lower difficulties with other champions that decrease turn meter, which I'll give alternatives in a bit. So let's go and explain why this works. Dark Elhain, why does this work, Cold Brew? So you'll go in there with a very fast champion that applies a freeze. Once that freeze is applied to any member of your team, Dark Elhain will immediately get a turn using her Death's Mastery skill and boost her turn meter a little bit. Okay, so the turn that she gets is not an actual turn, it's just her using her A2 ability, which is a big burst of an AoE. She gives an increased attack buff on herself. Big damage there. She can actually even do a decreased speed debuff, which is also very useful for this boss. So what you can do, which I haven't done for this video, is actually you can use her with high enough accuracy so that she possibly applies that decreased speed, which is insane. On this boss, this is really needed because it drops the boss's speed, remember, from 250 to 200. So it gives you some room there, and that's where the turn meter reduction comes in with the allures. Obviously, High Katoon is there for both speed boosting, speed up buff, some turn meter reduction, and also some additional chance to apply a decreased speed debuff. The decreased speed debuff is mostly applied by my High Katoon in this videos that I'll show you. But you can actually get, as I said, Dark Elhain's accuracy a little bit higher, so you can land it. You need about 325, 330. A little bit higher than that gives you higher chances to land it. If you guys remember that Google spreadsheet with all the resistances and accuracies, yeah, this boss has the a really high resistance. So yeah, you definitely need more than 320, 330 to apply any kind of debuffs and turn meter reduction. And then we have Jagger here, Jagger, whatever you want to call him. This guy is just here for a showcase. You don't need to use this guy. There's alternatives, of course. You just need a champion that does a freeze. Okay, there's champions that can do a freeze on a single target, and then there's champions that can do it on an AoE. Single target is better for your team. If you can freeze one of your guys, it's gonna be good, because that means not your whole team will basically lose their turn. Okay, that's the one thing. If you want to get an AoE one, if you don't have an AoE freeze champion, then you can go over to the campaign. If I remember correctly, you can actually get an AoE freeze champion in here. I think it's stage 4. I think this guy, Greybeard, has an AoE freeze that you can use. This guy, AoE freeze means you might lose a turn for your whole team, but remember, the freeze also gives you a little bit less damage taken. So when an enemy is frozen, you receive 75% damage instead. Okay, so I mean, you'll lose a turn, but if you get damage in between and you're frozen, you not get 100% of that damage. So I guess that's good if you happen to get frozen. Okay, and some alternatives for this, of course, for the speed lead is if you've got a Lysandra, use a Lysandra. Okay, Dark Elhain is a necessity here, so she's the MVP of this team. And for allures, obviously you can use an Armiger if you can, but he needs to be very fast with a relentless set. So let's go over their gears very quickly, just to show what they have available. You can use a Sylar too. If you want to use a Sylar, she has a 40% decrease in turn meter. Remember, that's going to be 20% against the boss, plus the decreased speed debuff. She also has some attacks here, but those are not going to be that useful. The aura doesn't work, so you're only going to be using her for a 40% decrease in turn meter. I found that that High Katoon is better because she gives a lead, she gives a boost, she gives a 30% increased speed buff. She also applies a turn meter down, which this is not that useful, honestly. It's just a waste of a turn, and her A1 actually does a decreased speed. The same thing that, you know, Sylar does. Other champions, obviously, that the high end is Lissandra. Lissandra does it the best of all. She's, if you have her, use her for this boss. It's going to make your runs way, way easier, okay? And, well, allures, the allures are built, one of them with just pure speed, okay? 241, 325 accuracy, 100% crit, that's required. The other one with relentless, that's also great if it procs. You know, that extra turn gives you more chances to decrease that turn meter, and it's really useful when it does proc. So I could have run both of them with relentless, but I was trying to figure out if I cannot use double allure. I've used Armiger with a relentless instead of an allure, and it's not quite cutting it. There's a lot of RNG involved. The boss can get really fast, and it can get painful for your team, okay? High Katoon, you just need her with enough speed. Let's go and find High Katoon. You just need her with enough speed so that she, you know, applies the buffs. Reasonable speed, okay? 250 over the amount of the boss. Remember, you also get the aura. The accuracy is there for the decreased speed and the decrease in turn meter that she applies. If you don't care about landing those, obviously you cannot use the accuracy, and you can go other stats instead. But remember, she shouldn't be very, very tanky, okay? If your champions are too tanky, then the next problem comes in, and the problem is with Dark Elhain. So if Dark Elhain is not built with enough damage to kill your team, then you're gonna have a problem. So my Dark Elhain is not built really good, I would say. I gave her too much speed, I think, and that wasn't required because she instantly activates her A2 with her passive. She doesn't need all that speed, but because she gets a turn meter boost, she can actually get a double turn in the off chance that you cannot kill your own team with your first A2. You can alternatively build her with, you know, more attack. That's going to give her way more potential to kill your own team. I mean, the mirror team. She needs 100% crit. 262 critical damage is great. With a savage set, that's only to kill your team. Okay, guys? That's only to kill your team. If you can build it with lower stats and still kill your team, then it's great. Just do it. As long as that freeze lands, she'll activate the A2. If your A2 is strong enough to kill your team, the gearing here doesn't matter. The accuracy matters. If you want to land that speed debuff, I have got 250 on her because I would have lost like 500 attack if I put an accuracy banner. She does land it, but it's not that often with 252. It's not that often. So I have to pretty much depend on High Katoon for the decrease speed. And then finally, the freeze champion. Let's go and see. The freeze champion is Jaeger. I mean, he has to be the fastest of them all. It's obvious. The reason for that is very simple. He has to go in, freeze before anything else happens. If anything else happens, your team's probably going to die. The freeze is going to happen because his AI, okay, guys? His AI will always do a freeze. I've thought about champions which can be free-to-play friendly, such as, you know, Ninja. But Ninja always does his A2 on auto. Even if your preset does A3 on auto, enemy ninja, the enemy mirror ninja, will do A2 on auto. The same thing with other champions. Which other champion has a freeze, which is free to play friendly? I was thinking about it yesterday. Totally forgot about it today. There's another champion that can do a freeze. It's not Greybeard. Greybeard does his A2 on auto. I checked the Wenderin. I was testing out and checked the Wenderin as well. He does his A2 first instead of his A3, which kind of sucks too. In terms of masteries for Jaeger, because he doesn't have a 100% chance to apply the freeze, I went the freeze extra 5% mastery right there. Nothing too special about everything else. Accuracy, and he pretty much dies. So he's just there to activate Dark Elhain. So this team is really a 4v team, a 4-person team to beat the boss, I guess. Okay, guys. So this was their gears and masteries. As I said, alternatives are out there. It all depends on what kind of gear you've got. The speeds are heavy. Okay, if you're gonna try and get a 240 speed allure, It's difficult, I know. Plus 300 accuracy, it's difficult. But if you want to try out this combo with Dark Elhain, then it's something that you can do. You cannot use a freeze champion if you really want to go that way, but you have to find another way to activate Dark Elhain's passive, and that's the team really. So guys, let's go over and see Dark Fae here on 120 on hard. Then we're gonna go to lower difficulties. Obviously, with lower difficulties, the lower amount of gear that you need. This team is not required for, you know, the normal Doom Tower stage 40 for her. Okay, you can use Dark Elhain for sure because she is a login champion. Then Allure is going to be much more difficult to get because she is a champion acquired from shards. Jagger is available from farming. Okay, Haikatoon 30 days in, everybody has her. There's no chance nobody has her that's trying to do Doom Tower. It's only Allure here, and you can replace her with things like a V6. You can replace it with an armor gear. There's so many champions that apply a decreasing terminator with their base skill, so definitely check those out. You can even try some other uncommons, so definitely check those out. So let's go and see the team. Right, 120 on hard, guys. Before we get on to that, you'll see the Allures controlling all the ways. But before we get on to that, soundstripe.com. We are partnered with soundstripe.com. If you do enjoy the music, definitely check it out. There's a ton of music for you guys, not just the ones that you're hearing, all kinds of music, different playlists, different genres, all copyright free for you to use even on your own content if you are inclined to do so. Definitely check it out. 15% discount for you guys. Thank you so much, and let's get on with the video. So the team and how this team works on the Doom Tower is basically Allures controlling. Okay, what you need to be careful of is locking out the presets for both of your Allures so that they always use their A1s. You don't want to have them using their A2 or A3 throughout the fight on Dark Fae. You want to use them only to use their A1s, which is the terminator decrease. And then your freeze champion, you want to lock that freeze out, because remember, he's gonna go first on round 3. If he goes first and freezes the enemy Dark Elhain, then she'll do what you're supposed to be doing to them, which you do not want. Okay guys, remember that when you're doing the presets, everyone else can be used at however you want. You can even lock out Haikatoon's A3 there so that she doesn't do that small amount of decreasing terminator, because that's what, 7.5%. That's basically a lost case. Better that she tries to do her A1 and apply the decreased speed. So we're here on the boss. You'll see immediately, boom, Dark Elhain taking them down. There's that double turn that I was telling you guys about her having enough speed so that she gains a double turn. And you'll see the boss now just taking a turn in a bit and taking out I think Jagger here, which is fine. We don't need him for the remaining of the fight, but obviously if you really want to have that additional War Master, then maybe you can build him a little bit tankier, but that's not what I wanted with this team. So Dark Elhain just going in there, just doing some damage, but it's honestly the Allures with Giant Slayers in there, and then some damage from Haikatoon, but she doesn't have War Master, so it doesn't really do anything else. The Allures are built with the proper Allure build, Giant Slayer, and then the accuracy tree, and that's it. Dark Elhain is obviously there for damage, but I do have War Master on her instead of Flawless Execution or Helm Smasher. So that's it for the team, and this is how it goes. I'll let you guys watch the rest of the fight, and then we'll go on to the lower difficulty where I'm not going to be using a double Allure team. we are going to be in floor 80 of the hard Doom Tower. So the speed requirements here are much less, 230 for the boss and 200 resistance is what the boss has. So definitely lower requirements for your accuracy as well compared to, of course, floor 120. So it's the same theme as before, except for the two allures. We're going to have an armature in there instead with a relentless set, so he gains that extra turn. Allure, the same thing, relentless set. You see that lucky proc there. It does happen. We only need for it to happen a couple of times because of the lower speed requirements. Armiger is there with pretty much similar gear as Allure. He still needs a 100% chance to crit. He needs to reduce that turn meter. He gains those extra turns. That 30% decrease is pretty big actually. So this is how the team works even on this floor, floor 80 of the hard Doom Tower. Definitely check it out, guys. I hope you found this team useful. I hope you can use parts of this team for your own personal benefit. For your own team, you can, as I said, use alternatives, use a legendary champion instead that can do any of the roles mentioned, except for, of course, Dark Elhain, where she is required because this is a specific strategy. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you subscribe. If you haven't already, please consider doing so. Click that thumbs up button as well. It definitely helps the YouTube algorithm push the YouTube channel out there for new viewers, hopefully to see and enjoy the channel content as well. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.